And I do think it is in marriage that we always talk about that we all have a megaphone and we all have hearing aids. And the gag is that there's, a blue megaphone and blue hearing aids and a pink megaphone and pink hearing aids. And so you guys either got to learn how to, ladies have to speak out of a blue megaphone or learn how to wear blue hearing aids, because you had to have one or the other, But I think it's even more complicated than that. I think that we all have a different megaphone and we all have different hearing aids.
Welcome to Let's Talk About That, the podcast where we dive into conversations about life and share stories of faith. We're thrilled to be on this journey with you. Whether you're a longtime listener, someone who calls the Orchard home, or you're just stopping by, Let's Talk About That is your space to explore, reflect, and connect. Join us as we navigate the intricacies of faith, spiritual formation, and daily life as we invite guests to share their stories with us. So grab a cup of coffee, find a comfortable space, and let's do this together. This is Let's Talk About That, where you can be encouraged and inspired by God's work in our lives.
All right. Well, welcome back to the podcast. This is season 2, episode 1, I've been told, really just episode 60. We're saying season 2 because we are in a new season of the podcast because we have lost our amazing host, AJ, RIP, actually not dead, just moved to a new calling and a new church in Virginia. And as much as I like to pick on AJ and razz AJ, he was exceptional at hosting the podcast. I told him maybe the best thing he ever did. So sad to see him go, but excited about what the next little bit of the podcast is going to look like, because we're going to be leaning into stories of people who attend the church, people who don't attend the church, just kind of hearing stories about life and what God has done in life. And I'm excited about that. So I've got some guests here with me today. We have the Orchard leader, staffer extraordinaire, Miss Mary Beth Everett.
Hi.
Most she's going to say the whole time. And today I have some friends with me, Mr. Michael and Miss April Vinson, and they attend the Lake City location. And April is one of our dozens of listeners.
I'm guilty.
And I know that because I was talking with April one day, and she asked Leanne, my wife, they work together. She asked Leanne, said, "Do you listen to the podcast?" And Leanne's like, "No, it kind of gives me the ick." And so, April is one of our faithful listeners, one of the dozens. And so I said, you know what? What a perfect couple to bring on as we're in a marriage series, just talking about relationships. So excited to bring you guys on and hear a little bit of your story. But I got a question. And April knows the question.
I know the question.
You know the question. Did you give Michael a heads up about the question?
I gave him a heads up.
Yeah, I have a whole script that she gave me. I probably need to grab it.
Yeah, you need to find it. So you know the question, April. In honor of Alex, we have to ask, if you were a flavor, what flavor would you be?
I think this is harder for me to answer because I've thought about it so much.
Oh, yeah. If you think about it longer than 20 seconds, you're domed up.
I can think about it for the rest of my life. There's only one answer.
All right, you go ahead. What you got?
Yeah.
It's vanilla.
How true? It is.
All right,
That
true.
is my flavor.
Why? So, all right, you
Literally, it's my flavor.
So, she immediately was like, yes, 100%. Why yes immediately?
For me,
Yeah.
to him, just who he is. He is a traditionalist. He likes things to be planned. Not a whole lot of spontaneity in there. He likes things to go the way they're supposed to go. From food choices, he likes very, I don't want to say plain, but bland.
It's plain.
Classic. Classic's a nice word for plain, I guess.
No condiments, no texture, he likes plain. He likes to know what to expect in life.
Literally vanilla.
All right, I'm becoming quick. Everybody who said vanilla on this podcast, I've been like, no, there's no way.
He's vanilla.
He's vanilla.
But in the best way, like, you can rely on him. Like, if he's going to the grocery store with a list, he's getting exactly what's on.
Nobody dislikes vanilla ice cream,
True. Yeah.
right? Mm-hmm.
It goes with a lot of flavors.
It goes with a lot.
It goes with a lot of flavors. However, I just got to ask, is Moose Tracks Rocky Road too exciting for you? We're out.
That's not even the realm of possibility.
That's phenomenal. All right, we have our first legitimate vanilla. And,
I'm the first.
yeah, well, I've shot down everybody else who said vanilla because I was like, no, there's no way. But April was very convincing.
And if I order ice cream or a milkshake, it's vanilla.
All right. Well, I got to be honest. I'm a vanilla ice cream kind of guy, too. Okay. But they told me my flavor was salt and pepper, and I'm pretty sure they were making fun of my hair. But that was that was early on in the podcast because there's not a whole lot of pepper left. I think the last year has aged me. So, but I did get a new haircut. So I don't look 55 anymore, just like 53 and a half.
You got the fade.
Yeah, I did. Matter of fact, you missed it, April, because Wemby didn't. The day I got the fade, my hair grows like crazy fast. It was a skin fade.
Nice.
Like it was like skin. And I told Leanne that when I went, I let my buddy from high school who has a barbershop in Perry do it. I was like, I'm not even going to, I'm going to let him do what he wants to do. I'm not even going to look at it till I get back in the truck. But when he put that like razor up high and it went, I was like, oh, we're going for it. We are going for it. So, yeah.
I love that Michael's kind of lost right now because he's not one of the dozens of listeners. So he doesn't understand the background between the
fellowship is going to expand.
Well, we knew when we were bringing you on here, we were bringing in a whole new segment of listeners.
Yeah. Those
who are, listening to podcasts about how to, calendar their restroom breaks or something like that, since you're vanilla.
Well, it's simple things, put stuff back where you got it.
Oh, we don't need to be talking about that. Look, man, we're in the middle of a marriage series. We don't need to open that can of words right now. But okay, that is good. We do have an ongoing, joke on the podcast because I got called old and I decided it was because of my haircut that people thought I was old. Because I'm only 40, so I thought I was 55. And then the worst part of it is people who knew me go, oh, I'm only 10 years older than you. And I said, I'm not 55. I'm 40. I'm close to 25 as I am 55. And yet the week after that happened, I was preaching in Live Oak and I found myself sitting in a rocking chair that they have in the lobby. Then I was like, oh, maybe it wasn't the haircut. Maybe it wasn't the haircut that was doing it. Anyway, so
Leanne looks about 10 years younger.
I know. It is awkward sometimes. It is really awkward. Like, there have been people who legitimately thought that she was like my daughter or either I was really wealthy.
Yeah.
Like, they don't understand. I'm only 18 months older than her. But, I don't know. It's fine.
It's a compliment.
For her?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, for you too.
Only if they think I have a lot of money.
Not spiritually wealthy.
There you go. Right. All of the riches heaven has to offer.
Yes.
All right. So, April, you did dodge the question.
I did.
Because we went to Michael. So you still got to answer what flavor.
I would say, honestly, I'm the rocky road to his vanilla.
Let's go.
Like when you think of, God really does have a sense of humor, like that we have so many features that we're just opposites in so many ways, but it works. He likes things steady and to know what's happening, and I like to throw that monkey wrench in there, and so I
have found my people.
I used to say I lived in fear that she was going to come in and ask me to move something.
Yeah, move furniture.
I
don't know.
Relax.
I'm feeling that from my... Yeah, the house has looked this way for too long. We got to change that.
Got to change something. So I would say but also just the line of work I'm in education. You have to be able to be flexible and move, and you don't really know what life is going to throw at you from day to day. So that's just kind of that rocky road. It's sweet and wonderful, but sometimes it's a little nuts, and we just go with it.
That was really well done. She has thought about this and she nailed it.
Yeah.
The little bit of nuts got me.
A little bit.
So that's good. Let's kind of go that direction then. I introduced you, but that just meant I gave them your names and you just told them your flavors. Why don't you tell us, a little bit about yourself? What do you do for a living? That kind of thing. And then maybe we'll dive into the how you met side of things. So we'll start since you're going right now, April. Let's just keep you going. Tell us a little bit about April.
So I am an assistant principal at Belmont Academy. I've been there, I don't know, 4 years. I've been in education altogether about 20, going on 21 years. We have 4 wonderful children. Michael, we're sort of the yours, mine, and ours. We're both a second marriage to one another. So we both have a child from a previous marriage, and then we have 2 girls together.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, now, Mary Beth, you worked with April for a while.
Yes, I was just about to throw out a fun fact.
Oh,
April and I used to work together, and she actually was my boss for a couple of years.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be weird if somebody asked you to compare bosses right now with 2 of them like sitting at the
It would be.
I hope you're not vanilla.
No, Mary Beth was strawberry.
I was strawberry.
Well, that's
I didn't see that.
Which,
that's one step up.
again, you just did the
That's what I said. I was like, oh, thanks.
When somebody said she was strawberry, she was, oh, thanks. And then, I don't get this. This is blowing my mind right now.
It's just a sweet flavor.
Yeah.
So's chocolate.
Yeah, but it's just pure and sweet and
That's so wild to me. That is so, I'm telling you, you would think that at 40 years old, I would understand more about the opposite sex, but I do not. Because I kid you not, you'll appreciate this, Mary Beth. I'm stepping into student ministry again now that AJ's stepping back. And so I've been in student ministry a lot more recently, and specifically the last couple of weeks. And we do student ministry and kids ministry the exact same. They have their big group worship time where they worship, hear the message, and then they break into small groups, right? And we break them up into small groups by age and by gender. Well, the last 2 weeks I've been in student ministry in Lake City, I've went to the high school girls small group. The first time, just because they were there after I'd come in late, and so I just sat down with them. Last time, their leader had to be out of town because of a death in the family, and so I sat there. And can I tell you, these high school girls befuddle me.
yeah.
Like, I don't get it. And one of the things that we were talking about I don't remember how it came up, but one of them mentioned, I remember asking, I was like, how do you make decisions? And they're like, what kind of decisions do you mean? And I said, well, like any. They go, well, if it's something that we were going to wear, we just like text each other and see what everybody says. And I said, hold on, back up. You guys text each other what you're wearing to get opinions and decide. They were like, yeah. And then I asked some older ladies, and they were like, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I asked my wife, and she was like, yeah. And I had no idea, Mike, this was a thing. The women just text each other pictures of what they're wearing to get opinions.
Leanne, Aaron, and I have a text with what we're wearing to an event.
Yeah, or what's the vibe?
Yeah.
What's the vibe?
What
are we going like
wearing? Yeah.
athleisure? Are we going to be cute?
Wait, what did you just say?
Athleisure.
Athleisure.
What? What is that?
I
Leggings.
didn't know that was.
Yeah, like athletic, cute athletic wear.
Yeah.
Athleisure.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
acceptable out in public, not just at a gym
Yeah.
type.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I could wear it to my kids' school to like go help in their classroom. It would still be acceptable to wear there.
Okay.
But it's still athletic wear.
I went to a gym once or twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No more than 3, but a couple of times. So I get that.
But not on like a daily basis. Like I don't check in with like, hey, what are you wearing today? Because it's Tuesday.
Okay. So it's not like a everyday.
No. Just like a group event.
Well, you have everyday outfits, probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like if we're all going to dinner together, or if we have an event, or
Leanne, Aaron, and Mary Beth 100% have everyday outfits, and they have the same closet, I swear. When Leanne was still running the daycare and they were all 3 in the office, about once a week, they'd walk in dressed the same. It was wild. Mike, did you know that this was a thing that women do? I mean, because you're a girl dad. I'm not. So I don't know if that's something you pick up as a girl dad, but that blew my mind.
It may, I may just not have paid attention.
Yeah.
I mean, it's possible.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I don't know. Like with your vanilla planning.
So I asked her what I should wear.
Well, I mean, I ask Leanne what I should wear all the time, partly because I'm colorblind and partly because I have no fashion sense.
Yeah.
But have you ever texted another dude and been like, hey, what do you think about this?
No, I have not.
Okay, good to know. Just checking. Just checking. So why don't you then tell us a little bit about yourself? Because I don't know, I think there was a period in your life where you dressed like everybody else that you were around.
Well, I think I have texted other guys about like what wheels look nice on a vehicle. What I just remarked thing. But I would never text about what I wear.
Yeah, that's acceptable.
Yeah, okay.
That's acceptable. So tell us a little bit about you, Mike.
Okay, well, April touched on the our family situation. So going back, I've kind of done a few things in my career, but I ended up in education as well. After high school, I fiddled around in college a couple of years, ended up in the Marine Corps. I did 5 years as an electro-optical ordnance repair.
Wait, say that one more time?
electro-optical ordnance repair.
Was that as important as it sounds?
Yeah, it sounds really important. Yeah, it is important. I mean, but I found myself always doing other things.
Okay.
Marksmanship, training unit coordinator.
I'm here for that.
Went on a deployment. Anything I really could do other than it wasn't my. I chose it because it sounded good.
It does sound. It sounds awesome.
So that was a 5-year stint. Got out in 2002, and then went back to college. It seemed college was a lot easier the second time around. As a matter of fact, the first time I tried to go before the Marines, there was a lot of struggle. I'm sorry. To get to class, a lot of D's and W's, which they really frown on.
Any kids, I know we have like a couple high schoolers who listen to this every now and then. They're like, "What the heck's a W?"
Not good.
Yeah.
Or some of the older people are like, "That's my guy." But once I put my feet on the yellow footprints in Parris Island, it was at that point I was like, school. I think I could go to school.
Yeah.
However, they were going to make me wait 5 years for another shot.
Did it make school seem better, or did it just make you better at school?
Both.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, both, Well, the Marine Corps itself, it's, it took April years to beat that out of me. A lot of that discipline, and requirements, because in the Marine Corps, doing something incorrectly would get you killed or get someone else killed.
Yeah.
And that's what's drilled into you. Every little detail matters.
So do you think you were already like wired that way before?
I think there was, some wiring in there, but you just
malfunctions, cross wiring.
Yeah.
But when you got there, you just kind of like took to it, or it was a learned behavior about the plant, the vanilla, right? The planning.
You don't ever really know what's happening.
Yeah.
You are a maggot.
Fair enough.
When you start off, and then 13 weeks later, you're a Marine, and you kind of throughout your career go back to being somewhat of a maggot, but you never go back to the recruit phase.
There's always somebody lower than you, right?
Yeah, there is.
Fair enough.
As long as you stay out of trouble.
That's good. That's good.
So I went to got my bachelor's degree in finance. Worked at the bank for a year. Ended up teaching at CHS for 3 years. April and I both were there together. We thought that would be a great idea. I did that for 1 year, and I was like, okay, I love these kids, but this is not for me. So I went back, got my master's degree in accounting, and ultimately became a CPA. And I audited school boards for a while, ended up becoming a CFO for school boards, and now I'm the CFO of Belmont.
Nice. So that the numbers just fit your world.
The black and white numbers.
Yeah, spreadsheets like get your heart racing.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I was told that's what this was about.
So I got a crazy formula I need to share with you guys.
Listen.
Well, that's how my mind works. It really is,
I just recently found out that there is like a Super Bowl for Excel, like geniuses, gurus, like
what?
Before I deleted TikTok and can't get it back.
Oh, R.I.P.
I can't get it back, but yes, it came across my page, and so there are these guys, like think of like a big gaming kind of situation. These are like the best of the best in Excel, and super nerd out kind of situation.
Wait, hold on. I love that.
But I texted some friends the other day. He doesn't know, but I was like, I had a video, and I'm like, this is like Michael's Super Bowl. Like, he loves football, but
I'm not even close to those people.
Oh, he's good though. Well, he's humble. He's very, very good.
So when you find people like me who attempt to make a spreadsheet and you see it, are you judging me?
The other day, helping out another district, I sat behind a girl, and I was, kind of training her on doing things, the same way I do them.
You go ahead and say it the right way.
Thank you. And I told her, I just laughed. I said, I have never taught anyone or showed anyone how to do things in Excel that is better than you, and it is still driving me insane back here watching. But you've got to do it the right way. It's not just that you copy paste the right. You have to copy paste the right way. And that's how my
yeah. So let me ask this.
It's pretty much not a sharing philosophy that I have.
Has the dishwasher in your house ever been loaded and then you went back and rearranged it?
If I put stuff in there, I'll usually have to rearrange.
Yeah, there it is.
But there it is. I mean, like I said, a lot of these things she's gotten out of me over the years.
Yeah, I love that because the thing about April is, I was joking that I found my people, but I think April and I do share a lot of characteristics. We talk about books a lot. Like we both like to read, and both a little bit, here for the party kind of thing. Leanne's not afraid that I'll come home and say, hey, let's move something. She's afraid I'll come home and say, hey, let's move. Yeah. I don't mean like, to Virginia,
right.
Not calling out anybody in particular. But like I came home and was like, hey, what if we sold the house and just moved to the river? It'd be cool to live on the river. Yeah. And she was like,
I hear that stuff.
I'm not doing that. Or now I'll never forget, we were living in Mayo. We didn't have kids, and it was like a Tuesday, and I came home like about 6:30. I was coaching football, came home after football practice, like, hey, you want to go to Jacksonville for dinner? And she was like, not even a little bit. What are you? Not even a little bit, So I get that, and I love that dynamic because it's kind of a dynamic that Leanne and I share. There are types of people, and we talk a lot, around the church about the Enneagram, primarily because I'm an Enneagram nerd, and, I beat everybody over the head with it for about a month. You said they're going to come to work one day and have a number, nailed to their door. But even though there's types, there's no stereotypes, right? Everybody's a little bit different. Everybody's themselves. You got your own unique backgrounds or whatever. And part of that is when they come together, it creates a unique story. So I want to hear how Rocky Road and Vanilla became the perfect Sunday. So why don't you guys maybe lean into your story a little bit? Tell us, how'd you meet? How'd you get to where you are now?
Do you want me to start?
Yeah, you go ahead. You go ahead.
The details are a little debatable at times, but so
that sounds like something that I would lean into, but I know better. So
you know better. Yeah, we're gonna move past that part. So did we graduate 4 years apart in high school? 5? 4. Okay, so he knows the numbers, not me.
Shocked.
And so, like, I always knew, we kind of always knew about each other, right? But then, like, he went to the Marine Corps, and then I went to college, and life kind of took us our separate ways. But then one night I was at Applebee's, big shocker, with for a friend.
That's what.
Oh my!
So for those of you who are currently living in Lake City but don't know, she means Chili's when it was Applebee's. Yeah. Same place, almost same menu, just Chili's versus Applebee's.
And this was a short period post Marine Corps, and I guess before we got together. So there was a couple of years there that I was back before she chased me down on Applebee's.
No, so I was a friend's birthday party, and he walks by, and he thinks this is like the world's greatest pickup line. It is not. He truly looked very different from the Mike V in high school. Mike V was a very slender, maybe even like crew cut, like not this guy. This Michael that walked by me.
So not Mike V, Michael. I love
Michael. He was bulkier at the time. He was doing a lot of like powerlifting, and he even had longer hair. And he walks by, and I said, "Hey, don't I know you?" He thinks that's like the ultimate pickup line. It was not a pickup line.
And I actually thought you knew him.
Yeah, what? Because he looked so different. And he's like, "Yeah, you know me." And then the rest is history.
So, Chip, this was right after she had been looking at me from across the room.
So that means you were looking at her too.
And so, well, I mean, there was a little looking back and forth. I may have been playing it cool as I kind of walked close to her, but she didn't hesitate to hit me with a, "Don't I know you?"
It was not a pickup line, but that in his heart.
Hold on. Did you pick him up?
Yeah, I mean, we were inseparable after that.
There it is.
But
that's all it took.
But I think with like second, I don't know, at least for us, like second marriages, like I knew what I didn't want.
Yeah.
And so when something that I did want came along, like it just sort of.
Was that like something that you both were like looking for at that point, or just like open to it but not really looking?
I don't know. So Chance was my oldest son, or my only son. He was very, very young at the time, and I don't know. I think I was open to it, but not necessarily like looking for that.
Yeah. So you guys weren't like on the prowl at Applebee's?
No, I wouldn't. He may have been. I wasn't.
No, I was not. So, and I have a daughter that's the same age as Chance, but she didn't live here. She always lived in Wisconsin.
Okay.
With her mother. So we had kids about the same age. We were in a similar place. I had been further removed, I think, from my marriage, and I don't know how long they've been divorced or apart, and then, I mean, we moved pretty fast.
We did.
And
she said, was she wanted?
She did. And so I met Chance, and that was special. I think we hit it off really well. He always had a good relationship with his father, but ultimately, we were both dad.
Yeah, that's cool.
He was 2 years old.
Yeah,
which is
I think that's really cool. I think that obviously blended families can be very challenging and are challenging, and so being able to hear people who embrace that, I think, is so encouraging for people who are struggling with it.
Yeah, we embrace it, and there was never any hiccups.
That's exactly what we got you on the podcast to say.
By the way, I will say the vanilla rocky road, it is now a proven fact that when they procreate, they can only have rocky road.
Oh, yeah. There's a dominant.
That's all we have.
For sure.
And that's part of the reason that I just gave in, because
you were outnumbered.
Yeah.
Little rocky road.
I still don't know who deleted my Netflix account. I don't know where my beard brush is. There's a lot of things.
You don't know where what is?
My beard brush.
Okay. I thought you said hair brush, and I knew that wasn't going to be the thing.
No, speaking, we'll get back to the Netflix account.
Sorry.
That is an ongoing sort. Maybe we need to
investigate,
pray about this, because there's some bitterness, like in his spirit, about his Netflix account.
I want to get ready to lay hands on somebody.
Yes. But blended families can be difficult, and often are. I do think that we have been exceptionally blessed, lucky, whatever, that our situation has been pretty good in that regards. I mean, we have not had a lot of the turmoil that a lot of families, coming together with a second marriage and the yours, mine, and ours. I don't know if it's because the older kids were so young when it took place. It could be because, my ex-husband moved to Georgia and his lives in Wisconsin, and so we did a lot of
there's not that proximity of seeing each other.
Yeah. And so that day-to-day, like, raising of Chance, like, that was us. We really didn't have to, I didn't have to defer to anyone, really. I was able to
makes sense.
Make those calls, and Michael has always been very, very involved in Chance's life, doing, coaching the sports and doing all the things and helping him become, like, the man he is today. We've been very fortunate.
So if you had to just say, like, one thing to encourage a couple out there who's just kind of hitting that rough spot of a blended family, what do you think you would say to encourage them, kind of on the backside of having, raised Chance together and he's stepping out, on his own and everything now? What would you say to somebody who's not quite as far down the road as you guys?
I'm not quite as articulate as April is about a lot of things, but I can say that there were some times it would have been easy to just walk away from this, I think, on both sides. But thank God we didn't do that. The perseverance, and there were some tough times. As she said, we weren't through a lot of turmoil. There have been rough times. If you go 20 years without tough times.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, the perseverance was well worth it. I think that's good. I wouldn't, if I can speak briefly, I think we have similar situations with our mothers, and time frame, passing.
Yeah.
I think, didn't you say that your mother had a bone marrow transplant?
Yeah, that's right.
My mother had one, and she passed away from the graft versus
host.
Yeah. But I think it was almost like if we were in the video game, we just went to another level.
That's right. Yeah.
During that time, watching her, because my mom wouldn't be the easiest. Because I was her only child.
Same.
So,
Yeah, I get that.
She wouldn't be the easiest person, though.
When you do it right, why would you try again?
Why try?
You know what I mean? Like, do it right the first time.
She said.
Yeah.
But even when my mom was, and we knew she was passing away within hours to days, April was sitting there reading the Bible to her for all evening, and you just knew, wow, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Thank the Lord that he gave her to me.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be smart enough to
Hey, look, Garth Brooks knew what he was talking about when he said, "Sometimes I thank God for unanswered prayers." Right?
Yeah.
I'm here for that. You're the theologian, Garth Brooks, not to be confused with the artist Chris Gaines.
No.
Oh, God.
What you said, Mike, I think is something that I've kind of encouraged couples with through the years, and it sounds stupid, it sounds simple, but it's true. You can make it through anything as long as you don't quit. It's because it's not like there's no relationship with tough times. Like you said, if you're in a relationship where you haven't had issues, you're being catfished. It's not, that's not reality, but it's just, are you going to quit when it's tough, or are you going to push through the tough time? Because, you can make it through. You got to persevere. I think that's a good word.
Yeah. And I think as far as like my ex and his ex, if they did get upset about something, I always tried to see where they were coming from their perspective, because and knowing that it does get better. You know what I'm saying? Like, for those that are kind of in that struggle right now, just, it does get better. Sometimes you need time.
Yeah.
Right. Like, if it's a recent divorce or separation or just whatever the argument or turmoil is, like, given space and time, things just do typically get better.
Yeah, I think that's really important. That's actually a theme in our kids ministry. Family ministry is like just time over time. Mm-hmm. When you spend time with someone over time, the results are exponential. I think that we kind of fall into the trap of thinking how much things can change or get better in 1 year. And we think that, oh man, it's just going to all be different and great and perfect. And then a year comes and goes and you're like, have we really even done anything? This is just, but then we underestimate that change and transformation that can occur in 5 years or 10 years when you just keep that time over time. And you look back and you're like, hey, we did it.
But in most cases, there's two of you and hopefully there's always two of you. Well, in most cases, you're look,
we're in 2025.
That's
really, there's always two of you.
But you're part of the problem, whether you want to admit it or not, you are part of the problem. And if you do leave the situation, I'm not saying that, can't promise you things wouldn't improve, but generally, you're going to take your problems to something else and they're just going to, it's not going to be greener. That grass is not truly going to be greener on the other side.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's hard sometimes in ministry is seeing people go through hardship in life, and one of those being, divorce, and then it always being about the other person and what they did or didn't do, and never taking that opportunity to realize, hey, regardless of what part I played in it, there's part of that in me that I don't want to take on to what's next, and then just seeing them go to what's next or try to find what's next, and it's just like beating their head against the wall because they've never realized, hey, I need to grow and learn here. So, man, that's good. That's spot on.
But I am blessed beyond, all imagination that she's still with me. It's just,
We also joke that no one else would put up with him. So,
and I looked at my daughter Reagan the other day, the one who was most like me, and I said the same to her with her current boyfriend. And I saw some of my behaviors in her, and I said, no one else is going to put up with you. I'm like, oh, that's what she means by that.
That's funny. Yeah. So let's take just a second, though, and maybe talk about those Rocky Road kids, Reagan and Livy, because now this is more of a April, you and Leanne conversation.
Yeah.
But I feel like that we have some similarities in kids as well.
Yeah, Leanne and I have had some conversations about that. And, believe it or not, Michael and I, even though he's vanilla, we both have big personalities, and we gave birth to children with big personalities. And so when you have a room full of big personalities, it can be, you're grinding on each other, and so a lot of prayer-filled nights, and I love my girls, and they're feisty, and they can be dramatic, but I really don't know if I'd want it any other way. Like, that confidence and speaking up for themselves and kind of being true to that, it's nice. But sometimes your home does feel like a little bit of a war zone,
Very emotional.
Good thing you got a Marine in that place. You know what I'm saying?
Good thing. They're big emotions. Especially, Olivia, she has some big emotions. She can go from totally happy to, I spilled a little bit of Dr. Pepper on me, true story, in the car, and we are totally flipping out about spilling the Dr. Pepper on us. I'm like, honey, like.
Well, that perfectionist stuff, I've never liked to make mistakes, and I've had some of that similar, I took it a little harder than I ever needed to.
Yeah. Well, they say that, I'm guessing, so Enneagram, minute, but, I'm guessing Michael's probably like a type 1.
We've never done it.
Well, so type 1s are the perfectionists.
Chip's going to text you a link.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I don't need to text you a link. We just need to talk for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But, type 1s are the perfectionists, and their superpower is they can make anything better. Like, they see stuff and like, oh, I see where that can be better. I see where that needs to be fixed. I see, but the weakness sometimes is that voice that makes things better is that voice that's also super critical. And so you are your harshest critic because you're like, dang it, why'd I mess that up? Because I shouldn't have messed that up. And everybody else is like, I didn't even know you messed that up,
I'm the problem finder.
Yes, yeah.
I can find the problem with anything.
Yeah. Well, that's my kind way of saying you can make it better.
And I do think that, like, if I think about our marriage in general, right, or just like life, like, he is very good at that. Like, that's his jam. Like, finding what could be better, like finding fault, and so for him, learning how to channel that kind of through the years, because when you have kids playing sports and your eye immediately goes to the critical.
That's right.
Or when you
because you see what's wrong.
Yeah.
Mow the grass. Okay, I'm proud of you, but afterwards, if I see what wasn't done well, that's what I'm going to talk about. Do you need me to tell you did a good job? I guess maybe something.
Well, so this is really,
I think, part of that Marine.
I think this is a thing, though, and I'm interested you navigating this as a girl dad too, because there is, and I think I'm this way at work, right? And Mary Beth knows this. Like, I can be a blunt object, and just like it didn't hurt my feelings, not sure what hurt yours, that kind of thing. But there is a way that you have to be careful how you say those things, because sometimes you can radiate not criticism, but just radiate resentment or disappointment because you see faults. And so there's a way that you have to channel that. And I bet in a house full of ladies, unless you want to be in tears every night because of everything they need to do better, you naturally had to get better at, doing that in a constructive way.
Poor chance. Everything was different with him.
Yeah. I'm thinking about a conversation I had with my oldest today, because I've been interested to hear y'all talk about your kids, because you're in a season ahead of me. So my oldest is just barely older than your youngest. Yeah. And so he's in 5th grade, and he's taking on more of his own personal style, aka he has a mullet that he's faked for right now, that I have a really hard time paying money for somebody to cut his hair out. But I do it. And he's also learning his own hygiene and how well lack of how well he needs to wash his hair now that it's much longer than when it was very short, and he could just throw some soap up there, rub his head or hand around, and it'd be fine. And so this morning I was talking to him. He did not wash his hair last night, and it was evident that he did not wash his hair last night this morning or ready for school, but we didn't have time, to fix that. And I said something about it, and he said, "You're always saying something about my hair. You always have something to say about my hair." And I was like, oh, right. I know. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to help. I don't want you walking around with a greasy head or And are you a type 1? But so I wing 1. Okay. I'm a 9, which is a peacemaker. I want everybody to be happy.
The worst thing you can ask Mary Beth is where she wants to eat lunch.
Oh, same thing.
Because then she's immediately thinking about where everybody else wants to eat lunch. Yeah. So that's the 9.
So I'm a 9, but I wing 1, which is the perfectionist. I have enough 9 in me that it kind of stifles my 1. However, when I'm at home, I'm finding that my 1 comes out a lot more, because it's like, it's my boat that I'm rocking, not somebody else's.
Yeah, no, I get that.
And I've had to kind of, and trust me, I mean, 20 years in, we're still learning this, but to go, that's just part of his personality, and it's not a personal attack, like when he like, because that's just, and that's what he is great at. Like, he just spent several days working on his truck.
Did you text pictures to the other guys?
He, his hands are all beat up.
I'm not a mechanic.
But because, he's not, but he can watch a YouTube video, he can order the stuff, figure it out. But, that's his jam, is figuring out how to do stuff, how to make it right, how to do it better. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, there are
Takes some time.
times when I'm cooking dinner, he's very picky. Something he doesn't especially love. He doesn't mean to say it the way he says it.
Yeah.
But he says it. I'm like, oh.
And then Reagan comes downstairs and does the same thing.
And then, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But it's like, hey, Mom, it's really good, but I need to tell you.
Yeah.
Tell me what's not great about it.
That's awesome.
Last night she went to get some pound cake for our small group.
Yeah.
And came home with
Cheesecake.
That's a great choice, to be honest.
See, I'm a much bigger fan of, pound cake, but I just said, I just should play that sucks.
And then it just
But I really wanted pound cake, but that's okay, She's like, there wasn't any. Well, then we come inside. What's the first thing Libby says? Oh, cheesecake. We're having pound cake, And April's just like, well, I guess I just can't do anything right.
That's hilarious. I do think, though, that, kind of what I've seen when you do that, when you kind of make those things, but hey, that's not right, let me show you how to make it right, is oftentimes you do that, or I will say, when it is done, it is because they feel safe in that space and they're being loving because they want it to be right, not just for them, but for you, because they want you to be right, and I do think it is in marriage that we always talk about, that we all have a megaphone and we all have hearing aids, and the gag is that there's, a blue megaphone and blue hearing aids and a pink megaphone and pink hearing aids. And so you guys either got to learn how to, ladies have to speak out of a blue megaphone or learn how to wear blue hearing aids, because you had to have one or the other, But I think it's even more complicated than that. I think that we all have a different megaphone and we all have different hearing aids. And, sometimes the rub in mine and Leanne's relationship is not just that she's a 1 and she's going to say, hey, this is how this needs to be done. That wasn't right. It's that I'm a 2, which means that I feel criticism more than anybody else. And so it's not her megaphone. It's my hearing aids working with her megaphone. And so I think, it sounds like you have said, I know where that's coming from. He's not being judgmental or critical. He's not upset or angry. It's just, hey, he's an issue and he wants to fix it, because that's one way that you communicate care, love, whatever.
And sometimes it's easier than others.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes I'm just like, so angry and scorch earth about it. But we're kind of in a unique situation with kids. We almost have 2 sets. So we have Kirsten and Chance, who are 22, Reagan, who is 18 going on 19. And we started over, and I always have to say intentionally, because people legitimately ask us. Mary Beth remembers I was pregnant with Olivia when I was at Westside. And so we joke, because for a while she would say on purpose, because, people asked us so often. But so we kind of have, 2 sets of children. And in some respects, Olivia is almost like an only child raised by geriatric parents, and I think, especially with Chance being 22, we were young and you're doing the best you can, and you're not as self-aware, and then your just regular life circumstances are different. I was finishing my master's. He was in college, went on to get his master's. Our life situation was, I feel like, a lot more stressful. Just lots of things back then. And so you're doing the best you can to raise those children. But I do think we learned a lot, and I hate to say he was our guinea pig, but a little bit he was our guinea pig.
Poor Chance. Yeah, poor guy.
So honest kind of is anything.
He's sensitive. He's not a rocky road. And so
let's still call him sensitive on the podcast. He might.
Wait, hold on. There was a button for that. Give me 1 second. A little late. We'll bleep it out.
He's a lover. He loves, and he feels big feelings too, but like in a different way than the girls. And so, you know, you learn how to, I do think sometimes Olivia gets the best version of parents because we learned, you know, like I was a little neurotic, like the kids couldn't wear character shirts or light up shoes, and like,
oh man, we were no superhero.
That was Reagan and Chance. Olivia, I remember her wanting to wear a bathrobe to Taco Bell, and I'm like, yeah, come on, like whatever, fine, that's whatever, just come on.
Yeah, you always joke with parents that, you know, the first kid, when they drop their pacifier, we get out the wipes, we get it, we get it in the bag, get the new one out. When the second kid drops it, you just lick it off and put it in their mouth. You know, just like for it.
Yeah, for sure.
But I do understand that you feel like you're a little bit better prepared.
Yeah.
You know, and so I've had similar thoughts like that. Like, for the record, we are not intentionally or unintentionally looking to add a later Parker child. But you do say, man, I wish I would have done that different.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. But I think you're always going to have that, though. I think, you know, when Livy, you know, starts her senior year, you'll probably feel that with her, too, because you always want to go back. It's like, man, I wish I did better for my kids.
But that gives them something to do a little different when they're
yeah.
I don't want to make that mistake.
I'm going to tell you that there's two things I've heard about parenting that have really been an encouragement to me. The first is a little bit serious. The second is not as much. The first one was Andy Andrews, author, came to Lake City to speak, and he just made this statement. It was great. He said, the goal of parenting isn't to raise great kids. It's to raise great kids who become great adults. And I was like, 100%, because your kids are going to be adults far longer than they're going to be kids, and you're going to have a relationship with them as an adult a lot longer than you will with them as a child.
Right.
And we just don't talk about that a whole lot, you know, and I think that's why there's so many issues when the kids get out of the house and they get married and they have kids, because we don't know how to relate to them as adults because we've only tried to have a great kid, you know? Right. And that was just a game changer for me. Just changed the way I saw a lot of things. And the other one that's a little bit less serious, but just as encouraging, was, I think I was listening to a podcast, and it was a psychologist or a sociologist or somebody, and they were talking about, you know, parenting. And then they said, look, every parent is just trying to screw up their kid as little as possible. And all of our kids are going to have something they have to work through when they get older. And I said, yeah, you know, I think that's true. Like, all I'm going to do is the best I can do. I'm going to try and screw up the boys as little as possible and be ready to apologize when they get in their 30s and start working through it.
Yeah. Well, I think apology's important, right? Like, we screw up all the time. And like the other day I did, like on Livy, like I just went I lost it a little bit much about something. Michael was there to witness it. But, you know, that was that moment.
I was ashamed.
His eyes were just getting big, but he was just like, okay, where is this going? But coming back and apologizing, right? Like, I mean, it's our first trip around too. Like, you know, even like with Chance, he's getting married this year. And like, I'm sure I'll continue to make mistakes in raising the adult Chance or being there alongside him, I guess is just saying that new journey he's going through. But apologizing is huge. Like, sorry, hey, Livy, I lost it. Yeah. Like, that was not good.
Yeah. You know, I always, another thing, a pastor friend of mine said to me, and it's so funny because the guy who said it to me, he is one of the most, you know, conservative, quote, narrow-minded, you know, button-down, you know, pastors that I'm friends with, you know, like very, not that he's opposite of me, but we're very different in a lot of things, yet we were really good friends. And him being that, you know, ultra-conservative, super whatever guy, he's the one who said this that just has been a motto of live by. He says, I just don't think I'm going to get to heaven and Jesus look at me and say, you know, I think you showed that person way too much grace.
Yeah.
And I was like, did not expect to hear that from you, but man, absolutely. Mm-hmm. And that's something that Leanne and I've tried to do with the boys too, is, you know, don't teach them accountability, right? Mm-hmm. Because accountability, integrity, those are huge. But if we can show grace, I'm not sure it's a mistake to show grace to your kids. And that grace is sometimes not enabling their behavior. Oh, I know I told you not to do that, but I don't really care. It's fine. The grace is coming back and saying, I took that a little bit far. I need your grace right now in this moment because I messed up. I think that is more meaningful than, just going straight to the enabling mindset, but just being able to show grace where it's appropriate, but grace doesn't mean you don't have consequences, so.
Yeah. Well, and Michael, I feel like I've told people this before. He does a good job with me. Like,
thank you.
You're like,
Stop.
I love the buttons. It's easy as a mother. Like, you have certain expectations for your kids. You want them to do this, and it's societal expectations. You want them to look a certain way, do a certain thing, get certain grades, whatever. And when they, make a mistake, it's kind of easy to go overboard on that punishment. And Michael has always been very good at kind of reeling me back in and going, hey, like, it's okay. I mean, he'll tell you, like, his high school hood was a little, he lived a fun high school life.
Yeah, hit a button, any button.
Yeah. But then he's like, but look at, you don't have to be perfect in high school and make straight A's and still be successful. And I think that like, he's always kind of helped me keep that in mind. Like, it's okay if they don't get straight A's, or it's okay if they get in trouble in this little thing, and maybe they'll learn from this little thing and not get in that bigger trouble on down the line. Because again, he's like, I wasn't the greatest high school student. I, did lots of things that I regret, but you can still be successful. Yeah. And so he's done a great job with that, with me, of reeling me back in.
Yeah. I have known several straight A students who still live with mom and dad at 37.
Yeah.
So, like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel that. I think that's great.
Yeah. I've heard too, like, don't miss the whole forest because you're staring at this one tree.
Yeah.
Like, zoom out. It's not really that big of a deal. There's a lot of other stuff that's going to happen.
Yeah. I think that's really good. So we talk in this marriage series, we talked about, Sunday a little bit about, the love and respect side of a relationship, like husbands, love your wives, Christ, just as Christ loved the church, wives, respect your husbands. So I got a question for you. It doesn't have to be a long answer, but I'm interested. And we'll go, April, we'll start with you. What does Michael do that makes you feel the most loved? Doesn't have to be a big thing. Maybe it's just a little thing, a random thing. But what's something that Michael does or has done that has made you feel the most loved?
He makes sure I have coffee every morning. Like, I know that seems like such a little thing. By and large, like, he makes sure there's a fresh pot of coffee brewed every single morning. And I don't know, that just makes me know that, like, at night, he's intentionally thinking of me. And, your wife and I did this last year. We had this little stint where we did yoga at like 5 a.m. You remember that?
Oh, I remember that.
Okay. And so Michael thought about my schedule. Like, he knew my schedule to know that I would need coffee at like 4:30. So I know that doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but it is to me, because on the morning she said I didn't have it. I'm like, oh man, that makes me so sad. But I do know that, like, that means he's thinking of me. He's thinking of me when he goes to bed, or when he wakes up in the middle of the night. He's not a great sleeper. He's making that coffee for me so that I have a better morning. And like I said, I know that seems like a little thing, but it's not. It's a big thing to know that you're thought of.
Well, if it's a big thing to you, it's a big thing. Yeah. Right? It doesn't have to be a big thing. Yeah. So, Michael, I ask you the same thing, maybe a little bit differently. What does April do that makes you feel the most respected, appreciated, valued? I don't know what the word is there. What does April do, or has she done in the past that has made you feel that way?
Well, she's very vocally, verbally supportive.
Yeah.
When I am, like I said earlier, a negative Nelly. Very pessimistic and cynical, and it's just kind of the way I handle things. Probably not the best way sometimes, and respond to obstacles, right? And maybe I want to just kill and maim the obstacles, which is some Marine left in me. But no, I mean, seriously, April is very, she's extremely supportive and encouraging, and she will point out those things that I don't think of, the positive things.
That's good.
And it's helpful, and I probably don't tell her that.
Yeah.
Is that why we're here?
He doesn't want to hear it more.
Well, when you asked her what I did that made her feel, loved, or whatever exactly the question was, I was thinking, I don't really hear the question, because I was thinking, what do I do? Oh. Couldn't come up with anything, but immediately for her, I mean, and it's just Did I already use pervasive? Did I?
No, that's your first.
Okay.
Pervasive.
It was perseverance I used earlier.
There it is.
Wanted to throw out some big words in honor of my wife. She's a vocab.
Oh, yeah. Thanks. Regional leaders, baby.
But yeah, she's extremely, that supportive. And she makes me do things that I would not normally do and get outside of my comfort.
So you may be vanilla, but she puts chocolate sauce on there every now and then.
She does, or not chocolate.
He hates chocolate.
Sprinkles?
I do not like chocolate. Yeah, sprinkles are great.
Sprinkles, okay.
I mean, I'll do it if yes.
I made him eat Mexican
Have a taste. So
early in
Wow, that's, man, my mind is, again, blown at the most random thing.
What
They
did you
don't
say?
do
they
that.
don't. They're just sweet.
Sprinkles don't have a taste.
I don't eat sprinkles. I just agree with you to be buds.
I appreciate that,
Okay.
man. I appreciate that. What a guy.
Sprinkles
Man,
throw the
people.
consistency off, but
Yeah. Well, okay. There's something, and I don't want to get off on that tangent, but the crunchy and smooth and creamy, they have some very well-defined rules about when they can be together and what's supposed to be crunchy and what's not.
Oh, we got to have Michael back on the podcast.
Even onions, they're different. They can be.
yeah, I can make a list of topics for
Okay, I'll leave it.
We need to get Michael and Bob Deacle here at the table, and we will have a fascinating conversation.
Well, I loving Wi-Fi. Went and got a Subway the other day at work. I think it's the maybe 5 times we've had lunch together. Like our worlds don't really collide at work. And I went to Subway across the street here, and I forgot his chips. And he's staring at his sandwich. He was like, I don't know how to eat my sandwich without chips.
Do you put the chips on the sandwich?
Man, that is the most Sheldon thing that I've had for that.
I'm like, he was like,
We're going to need to bleep that out.
he was like, I don't
The whole thing.
know how to eat this sandwich without chips. And I'm like, you just eat it. Like you just eat it.
Well, I did. I overcome, adapt, and overcome.
That's right.
But then he stopped by a teacher's classroom for a bag of chips.
There it is. There it is. I love that. So I feel like we're going to be letting everybody down who's listening to this podcast if we don't go back
To Netflix. Oh my God.
We got to revisit the Netflix.
I don't know what to say.
It is the ultimate letdown in his life.
Okay, so
Let's go.
I have, if I remember correctly, the master. I'm pretty close, April. She's telling me to get closer to the microphone. I apologize.
I'll say he has projected well, even when he's been away from it.
Thank
So
you.
I'm here for it.
Thank you.
Words of affirmation.
What was it? Oh, Netflix. Okay, so I believe I had the master Netflix account, which makes it even stranger because I believe it was at that point I lost the master Netflix. I was no longer the master of the Netflix domain. But I go to get on Netflix one evening and my account's gone. Everyone else, my profile's gone. Everyone else's profile is still there. Cannot figure out what happened to my profile. So of course I question everyone with access to the Netflix account. No one.
Or interrogate.
I was going to say, what did you say? Question? Did you interrogate?
Well, it started out as a question.
It was interrogation.
And you're not going to believe this, Chip, but no one had a clue what happened to my Netflix profile. So I go through the steps of what it takes to delete, because at one point we're like, well, Olivia, she's just starting to push some buttons. Maybe she accidentally did it, but I kind of went through and validated the steps required to delete the profile. And yes, confirmed that it was not statistically possible for her to accidentally make that series of
She was little.
episode. Yeah. So someone deleted my profile. I lost access to the history of all the shows I'd watched, so that there's suggestions come up. Yeah, but
Throws off the algorithm.
I appreciate your support on this, but really, I moved on and I adapted.
It does.
Well,
like
in some aspects, I moved on.
So,
Like I moved back inside the house, but we still do not know what happened to that profile.
really?
Yeah.
Well, let me encourage you, Michael. There will be a day when all secrets will be revealed.
Amen.
This will make everything right.
Amen.
Wipe away all tears from our eyes, and on that day, we'll figure it out.
And it will be a joyous.
But can I tell you, maybe discouragingly, that sometimes the answers aren't what you expected? Because we had a Netflix issue at the Parker House one time where we had a show that I was watching, and we were watching, I think, Leanne and I kept noticing that, like, it was the history was showing we were watching the show beyond where we had watched it together.
Yeah.
And like, what you need to know about me is I'm Rocky Road, but I'm very OCD about a few things in life.
Right.
just a few, not many. One of them is I have to watch it in order, and you cannot talk while we're watching it, or else I'm going to pause it and stare at you.
We're going to look.
And I don't tell me what's coming. I hate spoilers. Like I for whatever reason, that just triggers me when all that goes on.
Oh, yes.
And so I see this, and I'm like, Leanne, are you like watching this without me?
Did you leave me?
Yeah. And she's like, no. And I said, well, I pressed play, and it was like 3 episodes further than we watched, and now I know something, and I don't want to know it. Like, to tell you how far I take this, when Lost was on TV.
Oh, yeah. Lost, yeah.
We were watching it together, okay? But we didn't watch it when it aired live.
Right.
This is how long ago this was, Mary Beth. We were living in Mayo, and we couldn't watch it on Netflix. We had to get the DVDs from the public library.
Nice.
When they released the full season on DVDs.
Nice.
By the time we finished the first season, the second season was just about to start. We missed the season premiere by like 10 minutes. And Leanne's like, that's fine, let's just go. And I was like, no. So I did not watch anything in the second season. And if there was a commercial about it, I'd turn it off. I don't want to know.
Mm-hmm.
I like, don't. So that's how OCD I am. So I feel your Netflix frustration because I see people watching these shows on our Netflix account. And I'm like, will somebody tell me who's watching these shows? Because we're not I don't know what's happening here. Well, like, what's going on? Well, about 3 months later, we realized that when we had stayed at my dad's condo in Mexico Beach, we had logged into our Netflix and not logged out. And so whoever was staying at the condo in Mexico Beach was watching our Netflix and throwing everything off.
Well, was this a theological program you were watching? It was Lost. Okay.
It was Lost. Lost is great.
There you go. It was Lost tried to be theological and absolutely screwed everything up. I believe that was terrible.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, I can't remember what show it was, but can I just tell you, I felt bad because I was waiting for somebody to confess about who'd been watching, and it wasn't anybody. It was somebody. We just have no idea who they were.
Well, I think what slid by, though, is that he went on, like, when he says he's seeing how many steps, it's because he was trying to delete mine. Because tit for tat, but he couldn't because now I am the master Netflix.
I did do that.
And he couldn't do it because
she became the master. See, that's why I think she was ultimately behind it.
I would never delete your Netflix account.
Well, it's the same way when you're watching.
I wouldn't care.
You're talking about your OCD. When you're watching a show,
I get it.
I need to see every single second of every program.
I get it. 100%.
Well, I can figure it out. Yeah, I can walk out of the room. I can put a little laundry and come back in.
Have mercy.
I could just tell Chad, tell me if something like major happens.
Oh my gosh, my soul just died.
Yeah, I might just keep it going.
Yeah, April will get up and I'll pause it. No, it's okay. Just leave it running. And I'm like, no.
If Leanne gets up, I will pause it.
Or she'll be on the phone watching the whole thing. And I'm like, or she's doing something on the phone while it's on TV.
I do
and
that.
I am a firm believer that you can be a multitasker all you want, but you cannot give 100% of your attention to a single task if you are giving any of it to more than one task.
I understand that in every area but driving, because Leanne tells me that about driving, and I'm just not a believer.
Not a believer. Well, like last night, I had children's church yesterday, so I missed church yesterday, so I was listening to it online, doing the on-demand, and watching the Super Bowl. Yeah, I could do both.
I mean, both highly rated programs.
Both highly rated.
Right.
I could listen, watch the sermon, and okay, great, that was nice. And I went back, it was fine.
Yeah, I can't do that. Matter of fact, I watch it on closed caption.
Oh yeah, we're closed caption.
Just so I don't miss a word.
I have closed caption on everything.
Yeah.
Really?
Except for sports.
Live sports, can't do it because it's behind.
It's just up.
But I really do think
you don't do that?
No.
Really?
No.
Everything. Because I can't hear half of it.
I need it in real life.
If I had these on my head all the time, I could hear.
Yeah, so we just listen to everything very loud because my husband can't hear either.
No, everything is on closed caption. And I think it's the reason Livy has always been such a great reader. Because from the time she was, a babe, like we've always done closed caption. So I'm like, maybe that's the reason.
I think it's because I'm her father, but
No. Mm-mm.
Wait, let me see something. So, Mary Beth, you are the youngest one at the table.
Mm-hmm.
I would say everybody out there, there's going to be a stage in your life where you watch TV with closed captions on, and it's because you don't want it loud, but you don't want to miss what's going on.
Mm-hmm. I already don't want it loud, but I lost that battle.
Well, especially if there are accents or if I can't see their faces, like if just like the setting is sort of dark.
Yeah.
I need, but we've had closed captions on since like we were in our 20s, 30s.
Watch it. I'll stop anything immediately.
Okay.
Closed caption.
Yeah.
Well, I was trying to make us all seem less weird, but the truth is, I'm the same way. We've had closed captions forever.
No, I need them in real life sometimes when people are talking. I'm like, can't we put some captions on for these people?
I'm from Taylor County. I needed them in real life, right? I have a cousin who I swear talks just like Boomhauer off King of the Hill. Like, how y'all doing over here? You know, like, it was bad.
You're like, okay.
I didn't know I had a Southern accent until I moved to Clearwater. And it was just because everybody in Perry was that bad.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, when I was in the Marine Corps, they were like, "You're from where?" I'm Florida. You know, to them it's all Daytona and Miami Beach. I'm like, no, we're as deep south as you can get.
That's right. Yeah. So once you hit about Ocala, you're going north again. But we're about as deep south as you can go, baby.
Yeah. When I was at Florida State, you know, an hour and a half, you know, sideways from us. My roommates were all from Miami. A lot of the kids where are you from? Florida.
Yeah.
No way. I'm like, I promise you, an hour and a half from here. Like, one of my favorite stores, like, they didn't go to Walmart. My roommates had never been to Walmart. They go to Target. They went to Target. Even back then. And there was deer corn in the aisle, and they were amazed. They were like, deer corn? What is deer corn? Like, it's you throw it out to feed the deer, like for hunting
that you want to shoot.
You know, it flew over my head that they had how do you not know what deer corn is? They had no idea.
Oh, absolutely. I had roommates from college, you know, friends from college, played a baseball team, could not comprehend that I was from Florida. Came back home with me a few times. One time Dad cooked collards, and one of my friends' name was Stenberg. He was from Minnesota. And he says, "Stenberg, you want some collards?" "I've never had them, but I'll try a collard." Not sure you know how this works, buddy. Not sure you know how this works.
One grit. A grit.
One grit.
A grit.
So
the grit pandemic or epidemic is real. I mean, the people from up north do not eat them. They come down here, or often they don't drink tea.
Look, again, this is that. You know, if you ever wonder how far south you are, if you went so far south you're going back north, just ask for sweet tea.
Yeah,
they'll if they say we have unsweet tea, but there's Splenda on the table. Right. All right, you know, you're gone too far. The line is hazy when they respond, "Well, we have peach tea."
Raspberry.
Yeah. It's like, no, that's not what we mean either. But at least they mix the flavor in.
Yeah, and in the Marines, I made it as far north as Maryland in school, and that was my first foray. No tea. They're like, sweet tea, like raspberry tea? No. And there's layers to this, because I was going to get in a fist fight the first time somebody told me that mullet was a trash fish. I grew up in Taylor County. I didn't know that people didn't eat mullet. Mullet's a delicacy.
Mullet, yeah. I don't eat fish, but
I got judged. I got judged hard by eating mullet.
My granddad used to come down from Moultrie to go fishing in the Gulf, and he was sorry. He was headed back with a bunch of redfish he'd caught one time, didn't know what he had, and traded them for a bunch of mullet because that's what he wanted to eat. So, hey, he's going to have that redfish, man.
He's probably a smart man.
Yeah.
I'd eat a mullet over a redfish.
Yeah.
However, I'd rather catch a redfish. So.
Oh, yeah. I don't eat fish, but I love to fish. That's one of my favorite things to do with my dad. They live in Swanee-town on the water there, so that's one of my absolute favorite things to do. Going red fishing, there's nothing better.
I love Swanee-town because I love that that's one of the only places in North Florida that people from North Florida may not even be aware of.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's at the end of a literal road to nowhere. Mm-hmm. But Swanee-town's awesome. So
it's awesome.
All right. Well, we are at about our time limit. Do you guys have any parting words of wisdom for us before we get out of here?
Ooh.
Go Dogs.
Oh, no. I thought we were going to make it through the whole podcast. I almost wore my gator polo for you guys today.
Yeah, well, you opened it up when you pointed to the gator head over there.
The stuff
signed by Lake City's own Shane Edge.
Look, that's a podcast story for another day. We can't gas Shane Edge up that.
Okay, it'll be beat out.
One last fun fact, though, he is a diehard Georgia Bulldog, but he went to the University of Florida.
Yeah. Look, I get believe. Yeah. Sometimes There we go.
Sometimes you do things out of necessity.
Hey, my dad,
Perhaps I was behind enemy lines.
is a huge Florida Gator fan, and he went to FSU.
There you go.
But he says it's okay because he uses his degree to park in handicap spaces. So, all right. Well, hey, thanks for coming on, guys, and we will catch everybody next week.
I blood.
Thanks.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of Let's Talk About That. We hope it encouraged and challenged you as we continue to grow on this journey of faith and embrace community together. If you have any questions, thoughts, or feedback, we'd love to hear from you. Reach out to us through our social media channels or visit our website to stay connected. Your support is what makes this podcast impactful. If you found today's discussion meaningful, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, share the episode with a friend, and leave a review. Your engagement helps us spread the message and connect with others who can be encouraged through these conversations. Until next time, we hope this episode inspired you to live out your faith this week. Keep the conversations alive and remember we're all on this journey together.